It's celebration time. You've put in the time, effort, and energy. You've written, rewritten, revised, edited, proofed, and published your book. Now it's time to celebrate that accomplishment. So today I want to talk about celebrating your book, what to do at a book release party. In this video, I'm going to cover should you have a book release party, where you might do so, what activities you might provide, and why you might want one. This is Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers, because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. First, let's talk about should you throw a book release party. Before diving into party planning, make sure a book release party is right for you and your book. If this is the 4th book in a 9-book series, or one of many standalones, or you just don't have the time or the funds or the energy to devote to a book release party, there are plenty of other ways you might consider celebrating. You can go on a vacation or a road trip with your book and take pictures of it out in the world in different environments that you can throw up on social media and use in your marketing efforts to show that you're celebrating. You might also just have a small gathering, a dinner with family, friends, or the people who were important in your journey, who supported you throughout the process of publishing your book. But if this is your first book, if this is the last book in a 13-book series, or if this is a book you've had in your heart for years and are finally publishing, then your book deserves a party. That's when you might consider a book release party. You only get one debut novel, so it's important to celebrate that accomplishment. So if you've decided a book release party is right for you, next let's talk about where to host a book release party. This celebration can be as big and fancy or small and low-key as you want. This is not a wedding, doesn't need a lot of party planning, you don't need to spend a lot of money on it. A big part on how much a book release party costs is where you choose to host it. I've been to plenty of book release parties, and I can tell you, you don't have to spend a lot of money on a venue. I've been to parties that were hosted at someone's home, that were held in a park, that were in a historical building, and that were held at a restaurant. I've also heard of book release parties at libraries, bowling alleys, anywhere with an event room. Many authors I know choose a location that's somewhat related to their personality or their book. So that historical building book release party was for the release of a historical fiction book. The book release party that was held in a restaurant was held in that particular Mexican restaurant because the main character loved green chili. This was a big part of the book. So they were somewhat related. The other important thing to think about when you're choosing your venue is if you want to have any decorations. You do not have to decorate for a book release party, other than you might want to bring a poster with your book cover and copies to sign. The restaurant book release party didn't really have any decorations. The historical building one had a few. Some have streamers like at a birthday party. Others have decorations that are more related to their books. That again is completely up to you. It depends on your funds, your time, and whether or not you want them. When I release my collection of modern day fairy tales, I want to decorate it as if it is the Museum of Magical Artifacts. So remember to choose a place that fits your personality and your books, that you're comfortable in, and that's not going to break the bank. Again, we're not talking about a wedding here, it's a book release party. Now that you've thought about the venue, let's talk about what to do at a book release party. You can plan as many activities as you want. Again, it's your party. You can have 1, 9, or 10. But remember, when you invite people to a party, there's an inherent promise of food. So you want to make sure there's plenty of time for food and conversation. I've been to one party that had too many back-to-back activities for this. So remember, a lot of parties are about the food. Like the venue, the type of food you provide is going to depend on your personality, your funds, your book, all of those things. You don't have to provide full meals. Again, not a wedding. You might just have a dessert bar. You might have snacks and hors d'oeuvres. You might have a potluck. All of these are things I've seen that work well. If you hosted at a restaurant, that restaurant is likely going to be the one catering it. You can also hire a caterer. Might be a little pricier, depends on your connections. The activities you do at your book release party are going to depend a little bit on your personality. You might not be the type of person who enjoys party games. But if you are, you might consider having games that are related to your book. You could have a costume contest. The historical fiction author J.V.L. Bell always has a costume contest at her book release parties. She encourages people to come dressed in period clothing from 1800s Colorado, because that's what her series is about. And the winner of the contest gets a free signed copy of her latest book. That's a great way to have a little bit more fun with your parties. You might also have trivia games that are related to your book. Again, if you write historical fiction, you can provide a list of facts and ask your audience which ones are true and which ones are not. You could have dancing. You could have more traditional party games like pin the tail on the whatever, or those bottles filled with something like jelly beans where you have to guess how many are in there. That sort of a thing. 2 activities you should definitely have at a book release party are a reading and an author signing. So when you choose your venue, make sure there is a place that you can sign and store your books that is covered and protected from the elements. This is more important when you choose something outside like a park or a backyard. You want to have a table set up to sign books for your guests. That's part of why they're there. You also want to make time to read from your book. Now, if you are comfortable reading, you might do it yourself. If you have an audiobook made, you might invite your audiobook narrator to come and read for you. Then you might have a speech or two where you thank the people who helped you along your journey. Keep those short and sweet. Again, not a wedding. Those are some activities you might consider having at your book release party. Next, I want to share why an editor recommends a book release party. Book release parties are a celebration, but they're also an excellent marketing tool. When you invite people to your party, they feel special. They're also more likely to remember and champion your book. Word of mouth is one of the best ways to sell any product, including books. When people come to your book release party, they're going to remember you and your book. So it's an excellent marketing tool in that way. You can also use the pictures from your party on your social media and your other advertisements to help build excitement around your book. This will allow people to vicariously celebrate with you. So make sure you take lots of photos. You don't necessarily need to hire a photographer. I don't really know any author who has. Most people either take them themselves or have a family member or friend who's responsible for just taking photos throughout the event. Take pictures of you, your book, the people there, the decorations, people holding your book, all of those things. Then you can sift through the photos, choose the ones you like best, and you can drip them out over a period of time, or you can send them all out at once in one big blast of a celebration. You want to show your excitement over your book so other people get excited too. Again, this is a little bit of a marketing ploy. When people see you excited, they get excited. If people see you not celebrating, they're not going to celebrate. So celebrate. Also, tons of people dream of writing a book. Lots of people start that book. Very few actually finish. Very few get all the way through the writing and revision process, all the way to publication. You did that. It's time to celebrate your accomplishment. It's a big deal. So, what activities do you have planned to celebrate your book's publication? Share them in the comments below. And for more videos on celebrating and other aspects of writing and publishing, subscribe to Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers. because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. To find out more about me, go to www.ignitedinkWriting.com. There you will also find a timeline of a book, which will help you figure out when your book release party should fall in your publishing and marketing plans. And now it's your turn to throw a party, to gather the people who supported you throughout your publishing journey, and celebrate your book to ignite your ink.